The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Monday, September 12th, currently 5:02 on the East Coast, here to break down the MLB schedule for the Tuesday games. And boy, do we have a lot of games on Tuesday, a couple double headers. So we are going to try to get to we will get to every game, but some will be quicker than others. But before we get into it, joining me here to help me break down the big schedule on Tuesday, the man in the Great Lakes area, it's Noah Beanick. Noah, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty well, Munaf. Honestly, this weekend was huge for sports in general. A lot of things going on. And honestly, two of my college teams are already done. I wore the Trask jersey for 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. Richardson might not be the next coming. We had a Florida lost, and then Pitt, the school I go to college in Pittsburgh, they took an L. So it's really just Michigan, and that's it. Detroit Lions, you all know what happens with Detroit professional sports teams. So I'm wearing the Red Wings hat because it's already hockey season in my household. But Munaf, how was your sports weekend? It was jam-packed.
Yeah, we had a lot going on, right? College, NFL, MLB, obviously. I know we were talking offline a little bit, talking about our NFL bets. I had one bet this weekend in MLB. It was the over in the Mariners and the Braves game on Sunday afternoon. That one I will chalk up as luck because I know we were talking about it in our Slack channel there. Michael Harris pretty much saved the day for me. With a 3-run shot he had down to their final strike to send it to the bottom of the ninth, and the Mariners walked it off. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't catch the end of that game because everybody was tied up in football, but that was one hell of a ninth inning between the Mariners and the Braves. But how'd your weekend turn out?
You know, I actually won the first week of my NFL pick'em. I was telling you, it's like I basically treated it like Iowa's offense and defense and game planning. Took a couple of upsets. You know, you low scoring, but you played great defense. I won it with like 72 points this week, which is you rank them all 16 down to 1. That normally does not happen for me, but that's my favorite strategy and way to win. Because you know, if shit hits the fan, you have a good chance of winning it, which happens every once in a while. But MLB, pretty good weekend. I accidentally did not get to filling out my picks on Sunday on Tally Site, so that's that. Sorry, guys. But pretty well overall. While the eyes were kind of away from the sport, we had a little bit of a controversy go on. And the Guardians swept the Twins. Big news for the AL Central Division there. And the White Sox, they're 9-2 without Tony La Russa. Nothing's changed. And he actually came out and said that he doesn't know if he's going to end up returning this year. So
for us.
Yeah. So the controversy in that Twins Cleveland series on Saturday, Baldelli had James Karinchak, the closer for the Guardians, checked for illegal substance. Now, I had been spying it in a couple of games that I had watched, and I dug a little bit deeper like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I wasn't going to put it on full blast because we have no platform here to change anything or whatnot, but there is sicky substance back into our game. Like there are a few guys that are blatantly doing something to doctor their hand with baseball, and the umpires, they just do a little bit of a slap of the hand and say, you're good. Yeah. Well, Karinchak has something in his hair. Like it is obvious. Almost every other pitch, he's going to his hair. The umpire went out there. He felt his hair, didn't do anything. He had a little bit of a stare. Nothing happened. I'm telling you, something's going on, and it's not just Karinchak. One of the top 3 pitchers in our baseball game, I want to say, is doing it too. And it's also hair. So just glove, belt, hair, just take a look for it and just spot it for yourself because it is interesting. And all of those guys are doing pretty dang well. And the MLB is not saying much because their hit batter rate has gone way down since the beginning of the year. So they're keeping their stars healthy, and that's what matters to them, you know?
Yeah.
Munaf, anything you want to say on that whole situation? Because I had pointed it out to you guys earlier and just said, hey, just watch this out.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably no doubt for me that it's actually happening. It's a fact that the umpires are only checking their hands now. Like you mentioned, that's like a pretty much like a little touch. And okay, if there's nothing happening there, okay, you're free to go. And that's it. But teams and players are going to get creative on where they want to, put the sticky stuff, whether it's in your hair, whether it's not in the glove anymore, like the belt that you mentioned, bottom of the hat, top of the hat, wherever the case might be. So if there's a way, they'll find a way to do it. So it is what it is. I mean, we can sit here and talk about it, but if the MLB doesn't really want to crack down on it, that's their prerogative.
Yeah. So anything that really stuck out to you? I mean, so it's gamesmanship one. If you, as a manager, tell them like, hey, go check this guy for sticky substance. The next at bat, Correa steps up and hits a bomb. Mm-hmm. Cal Quantrill, who was the starting pitcher of that Saturday game, in the like a press conference or just a video of an interview after the game, he said it should kind of be like treated as a replay challenge. So like if you go out there and like say, hey, he's got something up there, and the umpire actually says no, like he doesn't, that affected Karen Jack. I definitely think there should be a little bit of a penalty there. And we saw it with Joe Girardi and how he pissed off Max Scherzer last year.
Yeah.
And Scherzer is just Mad Max though. So like you get him pissed, he's gonna go out there and pitch even better. Yeah. Most guys aren't channeled like that. So I thought there should be a little bit of governing going on. If that's gonna continue to happen, what's the penalty of making them go out there and check? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no like a formal written rules, I guess. There's no written rules about it. Like the umpires have been probably instructed, hey, check them. If you find something, collect, whatever the case, where it's a glove, belt, whatever the case might be, a hat, put it in a bag, like an evidence bag.
We'll ship it hilarious.
We'll send it to the lab and they'll get it
just
checked.
The glove, put it in a bag.
Yeah, and it's a lot of inconsistencies, and not just baseball. I mean, there's other sports where they want to incorporate new rules, but it just doesn't. It happens for maybe the first couple weeks or the first month, but after that, it's kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So I mean, I don't want to waste too much time on it, but it's going to happen regardless of what we say. But before we get into the games, let me tell you guys about our presenting sponsor, WynnBET. Thinking of joining WynnBET? Now is the perfect time. New customers who bet $100 get a $100 free bet. Perfect for kicking off the NFL season. Plus, WynnBET Casino is always open 24 hours a day, where you can get a 100% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Plus, WynnBET has their own same game parlay feature. Just click on the game you select, build your own bet, and start building a monster parlay. There's so much to choose from, and all you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change, terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 years or older and present in a state where playthrough WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We're also brought to you by Elias Sports Bureau. Football fans, the NFL regular season is here, and as week 2 kicks off, you can get ready to place your bets or lock in your fantasy team. You need to check out the Elias Game Plan app, the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for the NFL, NBA, MLB. That is everything you need to get a competitive advantage. Plus, the Elias Game Plan is the only sports app from the most trusted name in sports stats, the official statisticians of the U.S. pro sports leagues, including the NFL. Their app lets you access team and player stats, head-to-head team comparisons, and Elias key insights from their renowned research team. The app really is your one-stop source for player news and league-validated player stats and team records, expert game analysis for betting, fantasy lineups each week, and showing off your superior sports knowledge to your friends and coworkers. And new features are available all the time, like player injury analysis and player impact reports, which can be huge when it comes to betting and fantasy tournaments. So, Since the NFL season is here, don't wait. Download the Elias Game Plan app today. And right now, we have a special offer for you when you subscribe. Get a 14-day free trial off their monthly subscription plan, but only if you use promo code SGPN. Again, that's a 14-day free trial off a monthly subscription plan, but only if you use promo code SGPN. Find Elias Game Plan Sports Betting in the App Store or Google Play Store today and use the promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Fubo TV. If you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone, plus games in 4K at no extra charge. Over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. Watch on all your devices and never miss a game of an episode or of your favorite TV shows with the included cloud-based DVR. Plus, no contract commitment, and there's no contract and no commitment, and you can cancel it at any time. So right now, you can try Fubo TV free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FUBOTV.com/SGP. All right, no, we got a huge schedule to get through, my man. Let's crack right into it. And I want to start with the doubleheader that we do have between the Reds and the Pirates tomorrow. I know there's no currently, as of right now, there are no lines out. We do have pitchers projected. So why don't you lead us off with the first game between the Pirates and the Reds tomorrow as part of the doubleheader? Oh, you're on mute.
Dang it. Anyways, yeah, we have no odds on the game like you mentioned, but I actually have a quick handicap for both Pittsburgh and Cincinnati here. Cincinnati is 16-3 in their last 19 games against the Pirates. The Pirates, they're 2-8 in their last 10 games straight up. Johan Oviedo gets the start here for the Pirates, 2-2 with a 3.90 ERA, 32 strikeouts, 15 walks in 30 innings pitched. He's one of those guys, Munaf. You look at him, and it says he's 24. And it just like, you look at him, it's like, you look 34. He's one of those guys. I'm not here to judge him here. It's only like 5 games, career games started. I haven't been too impressed with him. His line doesn't seem too bad though. But Cincinnati's starting Luis Cessa, 3-2, 4.97 ERA, 44 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 54.1 innings pitched. He has a 3.01 ERA in his last 3 games. I like the Reds' money line in game 1 just because they've kind of owned the Pirates over the last 2 seasons. And in game 2, I don't even think I have to know the pitchers. I kind of like the over. Cincinnati Stadium's a little bit of a shoebox, and we're going to get young guys here that are probably getting September call-ups. Pirates, Reds, doubleheader. That second game is probably going to be high scoring. That's my lean there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much, without betting odds. We talked about Luis Cessa a couple times over the past couple weeks here as he's kind of into the rotation for the Cincinnati Reds. And his games have typically stayed under the total as well. If you kind of look at his last 5 games, 7, 5, 8, 5, and 7. So, and he's pitching pretty well. He does give up runs, but he's been pretty solid since he's into the starting rotation for the Cincinnati Reds. So if I had to lean, I would go with Cessa in the first game. Game 2, who did you said there's no pitchers yet for the second game?
Yeah, no pitchers I saw for game 2.
Okay.
Just a lean to the over, just because doubleheader, the second game is normally more high scoring because, the pitchers have been sitting around in the bullpens or the clubhouse for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So it just kind of leans over, and you have the 27th man also in that bullpen. I like the over.
Yeah, and then so we do have another doubleheader in the American League. That's going to be between the Rays and the Blue Jays. So no lines on that game either, bro. We'll talk you through the pitchers and the pitching matchup here, at least for game 1. It is going to be Jeffrey Springs for the Tampa Bay Rays and Alek Manoah. Their ace takes the mound in the afternoon game. Jeffrey Springs has been really solid for this Tampa Bay Rays pitching staff. 7-4 on the season with a 2.54 ERA. Over his last 5 games, he's 3-1 with a 2.49 ERA. Does have one start against the Blue Jays earlier this season where he did go 4 2/3 of an inning, allowed 4 hits, but 0 earned runs in that span. On the road, 4-2 with a 3.17 ERA. Over his last 5 games, he's faced the Yankees twice and the Red Sox twice, and he just had one bad game, which was against the Red Sox, where he did give up 5 earned runs in 6 innings. But other than that, he didn't allow more than one earned run in any of those starts that he did have. Last start was a little short against the Red Sox. He only went 3 innings, but only allowed 1 hit in that game. But he's pitching really, really well. Alek Manoah, we know the story with him. He's just been probably, I would say he's been the best pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. 14-7 on the season, 2.42 ERA. Last 5 games, 2-2 with a 1.85 ERA. We talked about a lot on the pod. This is a pitcher that I probably want to back at home, where he is 6-4 with a 2.65 ERA. Did have one start earlier this year against the Tampa Bay Rays, where he did go 6 innings, allowed 1 earned run in that game. And I believe that game ended 3-1 and went under the total, where I think they both faced each other, these pitchers, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that here real quick. Yeah, Rays won that game 3-0, and it was Jeffrey Springs and Alek Manoah in that game. So once this number does come out, if it is a 7, I do lean the under in this game. I just think these pitchers are both in great form here. It's going to be a crucial series for the Rays because they got beat by the Yankees 2 out of 3 games. They fell behind a little bit in that division, but you still got to keep up pace in that AL's wild card race for a playoff spot here, Noah. So at least in game 1, I'm going to go with the under between Jeffrey Springs and Alek Manoah.
I'm right there with you. And honestly, I don't see a problem with 6.5 either. If you have 7, you just get the push. That's the only real advantage of that number. I think they could score 6 runs or less.
Yeah, in the second game, I don't have a lot. I am seeing Mitch White is supposed to be the starter, but I thought they sent him down to AAA. I don't know if they called him back up. Yeah, they demoted him to the minors back on September. AAA Buffalo on September 7th. So I do not have much for this second game or without any listed pitchers here. Noah, did you have anything to add for that second game?
No, I don't.
Okay. So that's 4 games right there that we just kind of went through. I mean, 2 doubleheaders. It's always tricky with that second game because we don't know the exact pitchers. And then with no lines, it's a little tough. But at least for game 1s, we're able to help you guys out for that. So let's just get back on track with the regular schedule. It's going to be the first game on the board. It's going to be the Los Angeles Angels in Cleveland to take on the Guardians. 6:10 Eastern start. Jose Suarez on the mound for the Los Angeles Angels, and Cody Morris is on the mound for the Cleveland Guardians. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Guardians as a -145 favorite, +125 on the money line for the Los Angeles Angels. Over under set at 8. Run line for the Guardians -1.5, +140, and for the Angels +1.5, -165. Jose Suarez has been in great form here for the Los Angeles Angels. 6-6 on the season with a 3.77 ERA. Over his last 5 games, he's 3-2 with a 2.35 ERA. On the road, 2-3 with a 3.66 ERA. Hasn't faced the Guardians this season. And over his last 5 games, like I mentioned, they are 3-2. Has been getting the run support in those games. Crazy part is that 3 out of the last 5 games, or even 3 out of the last 4 games, have produced 10 or more runs in his starts. Looking on the other side at Cody Morris for the Cleveland Guardians on the season so far, he just had his first, I believe it was his first start of the season for the Guardians against the Royals, where he did go 4 innings in Kansas City, only allowed 3 hits, no earned runs in that game. And I was looking at the WRC plus numbers then for the Guardians, because Jose Suarez is a left-handed pitcher, and I believe that I saw that the Guardians are bottoms in the league, at least over the last 2 weeks, against left-handed pitching. Let me double check that here. So Guardians last 2 weeks, WRC plus, number 28 out of 30 teams. It's only 86 plate appearances, but I think this is an opportunity for the Angels to come in and probably steal a couple games here from the Guardians. I think they might be on a high here coming off that sweep against the Twins. Right now, at least they have a 2.5 game lead against over the White Sox in that AL Central division. But I think this Angels team is live to come maybe pull off an upset here. So I'm leaning with the Angels money line here, plus 125 here. Noah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning with the Angels on the money line too. I think they are live. They're 4-1 in the last 5 games against Cleveland. And Cleveland, they're just kind of a team that doesn't really score many runs when they win. LA, they've been rolling lately. I've been saying that this Angels team is not really playing like the heavy dog that they've been like set up or slated as when the books make their lines. They've kind of adjusted that, and it has now kind of been the total that I would expect. I'm seeing like plus 125 right now on this Angels money line. Still, I kind of love that because Suarez is in great form right now, and this Guardians lineup is not going to go out there and put up, I don't know, 5 runs consistently. Like in this Angels team, yeah, I mean, it's like every game, it's either Shohei or Trout is hitting a bomb, and you can count on 2 or 3 runs just from that, and then you can count on this top of the order to kind of piece together and manufacture a couple of runs. I like to look at it as Cody Morris in like a little bit of a postseason run here. He's coming up from the minor leagues. He's making his 3rd start. He pitched well in the minor leagues. I think he's going to keep this one low scoring. I like the under as well.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this maybe a month ago when Trout was coming back, that I feel like the offense was going to turn around for them, and it finally has. I think I was a little 2 weeks a little early on that, but yeah, they came into Houston. They took a couple from the Astros. Now they're going over to Cleveland, guys or teams that are in that playoff picture or are going to make the playoffs. They're giving them a run for their money. So yeah, I'm glad we're in agreement about this Angels game here as well. All right, next game on the board, 6:40 Eastern start. It's going to be the Houston Astros in Detroit to take on the Tigers. Hunter Brown makes a second start for the Houston Astros, and Drew Hutchinson gets the start for the Detroit Tigers. Looking at the lines for this game, currently seeing the Astros are north of a $2 favorite, minus 215 on the money line. Detroit Tigers are home dogs of plus 185. Over under set at 8 with even juice on both sides. Run line minus 1.5, minus 125 for the Houston Astros, and plus 1.5, plus 105 for the Detroit Tigers. Like I mentioned, Hunter Brown makes a second start for the Houston Astros. Had an incredible first game for them last week. He, in that game, did not allow a single earned run. He did go 6 innings in that game against the Texas Rangers. The Astros got that victory 1-0. Struck out 5 batters in that game. On the other side, it's the opposite story here for Drew Hutchinson. On the season, he is 2-7 with a 4.08 ERA, 56 strikeouts and 36 walks. At home this season, he's 1-6 with a 4.40 ERA. Did face the Astros out of the bullpen earlier this season. In 2 innings, he allowed 4 earned runs off of 2 hits to the Houston Astros. One was a long bomb. He walked 2 batters as well. Surprisingly, the Tigers have won 3 straight starts when Hutchinson is on the mound, and all 3 of those games have produced 9 or more runs in those games when he's on the mound here. I only had to look at this one way for me. I think it's going to be the Houston Astros run line here. I also do like the Astros team total in this game. I know you could probably elaborate more here on the Tigers here, Noah.
I actually think that Hutchinson is in good shape lately. He's had a few good starts strung together here. Mm-hmm. And both these teams we've been talking about, the offenses just aren't consistent. We like playing unders on both teams. Hunter Brown's coming in here, and let me voice my opinion on this. This was my pipe dream of Justin Verlander's date for return if he was healthy at this point. For the 15-day IL. So it would have been September 13th, but he will not go in this series, so that kind of sucks. But Hunter Brown is like the next best thing. He's Justin Verlander 2.0. We've seen the videos of them side by side, and this kid's curveball is great. The fastball 52% of the time sets that thing up, and if he can get the fastball to set up the curveball against this Detroit Tigers lineup, he's going to have a lot of these guys in the middle of that order whiffing at it, looking silly, and he's going to have another great outing. I like the under in this game enough.
Curious to see what his strikeout prop comes out at tomorrow.
Yeah, he had 5 in that first outing, I believe.
Yeah. So. Let me double. Yeah, 5. Yeah, he had 5 in that first outing against the Rangers. So something maybe to keep an eye on tomorrow. All right, next game on the board, 6:40 Eastern start as well. It's going to be the Philadelphia Phillies headed to South Beach to take on the Miami Marlins. Seeing Bailey Falter on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies and Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Miami Marlins. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Marlins as a minus 135 home favorite. Phillies are plus 115 on the money line as road underdogs. Over-under set at 7. Run line minus 1.5 plus 160 for the Marlins and plus 1.5 minus 190 for the Philadelphia Phillies here. Noah, why don't you lead us off with Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins?
Okay, so Philly, they're coming off of an off day here in Miami. They have that weird 4-game series with Texas. They're finishing up on Monday. Philly, they've won 5 of their last 6, and Miami has lost 8 of their last 10. Bailey Falter's going here. He's 4-3 with a 4.02 ERA, 55 strikeouts, 13 walks, and 62.2 innings pitched. He has a 2.75 ERA and a 4-0 record in his last 5 starts for these Phillies. So when he's pitching, the Phillies offense is going. Miami, they're starting Sandy Alcantara. We took him last week against this Phillies team. He cashed both of our money line dogs there. He's 12-7 on the year, 2.43 ERA, 177 strikeouts, 47 walks, 196.2 innings pitched this year. Sandy has not been as sharp lately with a 5.84 ERA in his last 6 starts, and they've all been against playoff teams. Philly, San Diego, Dodgers back-to-back, Braves, and then the Phillies again. 2 weeks ago, Sandy faced the Dodgers 2 starts in a row. In the first start, he got slapped around for 6 runs, and in game number 2, he went complete game 1 run against. I think this guy hits the film room hard. He goes out there and shoves the second time around against the Phillies, who he gave out 4 runs in his start last week to this team, I believe. Maybe it's 3. It was 3 or 4. 3. Okay. He gave up 3. I think we get another one of those great Sandy Alcantara games where he goes like 8 or 9 innings here the second time he's seen this order in a week. So I'll take Miami's money line again. They're favored now this time. So it's not like I'm locking it or like betting it, but as a pick, I don't know how you don't pick Sandy when he's on the mound for Miami. It's just now they're minus money and it's not as enticing anymore.
Yeah, this is going to be his 6th start already against the Phillies this season. 1-2 with a 3.28 ERA, and like you mentioned, his last start, he gave up 3 earned runs to the Phillies, and 3 out of his 4 starts. 3 out of the 5 starts have been in Philly. The 2 home starts that he did have this year. Let me filter that down so I can get just the home numbers. And
he's gotten wrecked by the Mets at home too.
Yeah, against the Phillies, he did pretty good at home. 1-1 with a 2.51 ERA, 17 strikeouts in 2 appearances. He had one start. He had 12 strikeouts. In another one, he had 5 strikeouts. But I think, yeah, you're right. This is really a spot where I think he does bounce back. And let's not discredit what Bailey.
It's crazy that we're talking about bounce back when he gave up 3 runs.
Yeah, and he's like the runaway Cy Young for the National League. And Bailey Falter has been pretty good over his last 5 starts. He's 4-0 with a 2.73 ERA. He's faced the Marlins as well. He had 1 start against them in his last start. A total of 7 1/3 innings pitched, only allowed 3 earned runs, and the Phillies got that victory 4-3. There's a couple of ways I do want to attack this. That I do like the under 7 in this game. I think that when we talk about the Marlins lineup against left-handed pitching, they do rank in the bottoms of the league in WRC plus in strikeout percentage. I believe they're up there. Team batting average, let's see, 240 against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. So
compared to the league, it's not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. And then that's just over the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. I think that this might be a game where we do see the pitchers. I think it'll be a game where we see runs at premium because it's just 2 pitchers are just doing really well. And I think, like we mentioned, that Sandy bouncing back after having a not very Sandy-like performance, I guess we can say, in his last start against the Phillies. So I do like the under in this game as well as the money line for the Marlins.
You've sold me on that under. I like the under a little bit better than money line now.
Yeah, and again, we said that the Marlins are playing a doubleheader today too, right? Against the Rangers.
I think it's just one game against the
it's
Rangers.
Just one game.
It's like a weird Monday thing. I think it was because of all the.
No, they have another game today. It's John Gray and Braxton Garrett are going.
Oh, they have a doubleheader today.
Yeah,
they do have a doubleheader. Okay.
Yeah, so
rescheduled from April. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but they're at home, so I think they'll be okay. But something to definitely obviously make a note of. Yeah. All right, let's get over to the next game of the night here. Noah, we have. Let's go to Baltimore and Washington. 7:05 Eastern start. Dean Creamer on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles, and Corey Abbott takes the mound for the Washington Nationals. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Baltimore Orioles are a road favorite of -150, +130 on the money line for the Nationals. Total of 8.5. Run line +1.5, -130 for the Nationals, and -1.5, +110 for the Baltimore Orioles. Why don't you lead us off with this one here, Noah? Corey Abbott and Dean Creamer.
Yeah, so the Orioles, they just kind of had that week where they'd fallen back into the pack like we kind of expected them to all August. They went 2-6 over the week in their last 8 games. The Nationals, their offense has been hot. They've scored at least 5 runs in 7 of their last 9 games. So my guy Dean Creamer is kind of in a little bit of a tough spot going up against a hot lineup. 6-5, 3.23 ERA, 71 strikeouts, 21 walks, and 94.2 innings pitched. He has a 2.36 ERA in his last 5 games. Going very well. Washington, Corey Abbott's making his 6th start in the MLB this season. 0-2 with a 4.22 ERA, 29 strikeouts, 13 walks, 32 innings pitched. It's kind of hard to really get a read on Abbott, but Kramer's one of my guys I've been tailing lately, but with the hot Nationals lineup, like I've mentioned for a 3rd time here now, as a dog here in the spot, playing at home, the Orioles are better in their home park at Camden. I think this is a nice spot to take the dog. So I like that. And I also, who knows, maybe Abbott does blow up a little bit, but this Nationals lineup is still hitting well.
Yeah.
Maybe look for a team total there.
Yeah, I was leaning towards the Washington Nationals here as well, just because of what you mentioned, that their offense has been putting up runs. And, we talked about the couple series ago where they gave Mets a run for their money. They handled business against, or they stayed competitive in that series against the Cardinals as well. I'm currently seeing a team total of the Washington Nationals in this game set at 3.5. So I think that might be worth a look here, especially with what you just said about how they've been scoring at least 5 runs in 5 of their last 7 games, as you said?
7 of the last 9.
7 out of 9, so even better. So yeah, I like the home puppy here as well, Washington Nationals. I know you nailed it that I'd rather back the Baltimore Orioles when they're at home at Camden Yards, where they've just been so good against the run line and straight up.
Yeah. In the chat right now, Michael Labor, he's asking, is Miami turning into one of the worst teams in the MLB with the Nationals and Oakland playing a little bit better? I think Miami might be the worst team in the MLB on 4 of the 5 days of the week. The only day that they're not is Sandy Alcantara's day. Because earlier in the season, when they had their full lineup, when they had Soler going consistently, when they had Jazz in the lineup and healthy, they were a competitive baseball team. Now it's just kind of like skin and bones.
Yeah, this team they have the pitching potential on this team, obviously, with Sandy and Pablo Lopez. Trevor Rogers
just hasn't been pitching well either.
Yeah, Rogers, over at least his last 3-4 starts, has been pretty good. He had a pretty good outing this afternoon on Monday against the Rangers as well. Unfortunately, they lost that game, but he had 9 strikeouts in that game. Hopefully he's able to turn it around.
It's a talented pitching staff, and they unfortunately, Bender has just kind of been on and off the IL, and they traded away Bass, but they have a lot of pieces to be good next year. They really do. They just got to get healthy.
Yeah. All right. Before we continue the conversation here and handicapping these MLB games, let me tell you guys about No House Advantage, the newest sponsor on SGPN. No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Play in pick'em contests versus other people for a shot at winning $250,000 plus in cash. That's right, $250,000 or more in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for correct picks, and climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every day. You can also test your skills versus a house and 20 times your entry if you hit all of your picks. Bet on up to 5 player props, over unders, or individual player matchups across every major sports leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Sign up now with promo code SGPN at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the app stores to get your first deposit match of up to $25. Make sure to check out No House Advantage today and experience daily fantasy sports redefined, because it's not how you play, but also where you play. You won't miss out. You won't want to miss out on this. We're also brought to you by PromoGuide.us. PromoGuide.us is the best place to go if you're interested in positive EV betting strategies and making consistent profits from sports betting. They've got daily updates on odds boosts and huge cash bonuses from all the major sports books. Their bet tracker shows you an average ROI of 25%, and they've got a VIP Discord group plus even deeper plus EV analytics right at your fingertips. I gotta say, we've been looking at their daily promo updates, and they are some of the most informative in the game. They don't simply tell you what team is probable to win, but where you'll get the best odds and how to track down and cash in big on consistently changing promotions. If you're not already using mathematical models to help you with your picks, you are missing out on an insanely valuable tool. And the best part of it all is that Promo Guy is run by a small team of passionate sports fans dedicated to building a well-informed, better betting community. Go to promoguy.us and check out their 100% tracked, transparent, and proven method for betting smarter. Once again, with promoguy.us, you get consistency, and consistency gives you profit. Now on to Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a fantasy league on there, and I use it for mine. It's a game-changing product unlike anything else in the industry, and now you could win on Sleeper by playing their new over-under game. Over-under has been integrated into the fantasy experience. The first sports contest built into the fantasy experience. Not only can you enter a contest via over-under itself, but if you also do so through your fantasy league's matchup screen. For example, if Patrick Mahomes is your starting quarterback for your fantasy team, and not only do you think you're going to win your fantasy matchup that week, but you're also as confident that you think that Patrick Mahomes is going to hit over 250 passing yards line. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times to over 20 times the money that you put in. The main reason we're excited about Over Under on Sleeper is that the only app where I can join my buddies' contests and play together. It's got a built-in group chat where I can see and copy my friends' picks with a tap of a button, and it's insanely fun to write it out together. Not only do they have NFL, but they also have college football player props. Stop what you're doing and download Sleeper now to play their new over-under game. Have fun with your friends and make some money. So on your mobile device, join our listener group at sleeper.com/SGP, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. That's promo code SGP. Again, go to sleeper.com/SGP and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. All right, Noah, let's get over to the next game of the night. It's going to be the Chicago Cubbies headed to New York to take on the Mets. 7:10 Eastern start. Adrian Sampson on the mound for the Chicago Cubs and Jacob deGrom on the mound for the New York Mets. Looking at the lines for this game, currently seeing the Mets are a -2. Oh, no, that's not correct. Mets are a -365. Home favorite here, 3-1 on the money line for the Chicago Cubs. Over under set at 7. With juice towards the under at -120. Run line -1.5, -150 for the Mets, and +1.5, +130 for the Chicago Cubbies here. Big price here on Jacob deGrom and the Mets here. Noah, are you going to take the dog here at 3-1, or are you backing Jacob deGrom?
You know, it's entertaining because Sampson has been all right lately. But, you know, it's the Cubs. They're 1-4 in their last 5. The Mets, they're 4-1 in their last 5. Sampson, like I previously mentioned, 1-5 this year, 3.76 ERA, 55 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 76.2 innings pitched. He has a 3.43 road ERA. So when he's away from Wrigley, he's in good shape. The Mets with Jacob deGrom on the mound, he's 5-1, 1.66 ERA, 63 strikeouts, 4 walks. I'm going to keep saying it every time I have the lead handicap with deGrom. It is insane. to throw 43.1 innings. He has 63 strikeouts and he has 4 walks coming off of injury in the middle of the season. He has at least 8 strikeouts in his last 6 starts, and he has at least 9 strikeouts in 5 of his last 6 starts. I mean, how do you not play the Mets run line here? You might under might be enticing as well because Samson is in good shape. I like the Mets run line a little bit better.
He finally got run support in this last game where they got 10 runs against the Pirates. Again, like you mentioned, he's Jacob deGrom. I mean, there's nothing more. I mean, it's not surprising at this point when you see what this guy is doing. It's interesting to see that if the books are going to continually put his strikeout prop at 9.5, do you be bold and take the under? Because he had his last double. Yeah, it's always like 9 or 9.5.
Yeah, he's. I'm saying like he gets 9, and that's his number.
Yeah,
like he's hit 9 strikeouts. I think in 4 of his last. I wrote down at least 9.
Yeah,
I wrote at least 9 in 5 of his last 6. I think he had 8 in his last start against Pittsburgh, and then I think he had 4 starts in a row with 9, and the 2 before that had 10. So it's like it's bold. It is.
Yeah. I mean, no argument for me here. You got to go Mets run line or -2.5 on the Mets if you want some
-2.5.
If you want to get some plus odds on it, if you're that type of player. But I'm not betting.
I like the under too. I think there's a a case to make for the under with the Mets. I mean, their run output with DeGrom on the mound is sketch. I'll just say that. Like, it's questionable whether they give him 3 runs. It's most of the time like a 2-0 game.
That's who does it normally.
So it was. So that's my only nervousness about like a 2.5. Just go with the under then. Like, honestly, that's
I would probably entertain a first 5 innings under 3.5 if you get that number. Yeah, it's at 3.5 right now. I mean, DeGrom
full game 3.5 isn't impossible.
If you want to alt line, all right, let's get over to the next game of the night. It's gonna be let's go with the New York Yankees in Boston to take on the Red Sox, a 7:10 Eastern start. Garrett Cole on the mound for the New York Yankees and Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Boston Red Sox. Garrett Cole has had a lot of trouble against the Red Sox this season. Or I should read the lines here first. Sorry about that. Let me rewind.
You're just excited to handicap them against your team.
Yeah. So, all right, let me rewind. The Yankees are a -170 favorite. Boston Red Sox +145 on the money line. Over under set at 8 with juice towards the over at -120. Run line -1.5 even money for the Yankees and +1.5 -120 for the Boston Red Sox. All right, now Garrett Cole 11-7, 3.20 ERA this season, 218 strikeouts. This will be his 4th start against the Red Sox this season, and it hasn't been very pretty for him. Despite being 2-0, he does have a 5.29 ERA against the Red Sox, and they have been pretty high-scoring games. The first start of the season, 6-5. The second start against the Red Sox, that game ended 6-5 as well. And the latest game was on July 17th. The Yankees won that game 13-2. So we've seen runs being put up in the 3 starts this season where Garrett Cole has faced his Red Sox team. And on the road this season so far, Garrett Cole is 6-2 with a 3.43 ERA. His last start was against the Twins. Solid outing for him. 6 2/3, only allowed 1 earned run. Had 14 strikeouts in that game. Nick Pivetta, not been very good, to say the least, for the Red Sox. 9-11 on the season with a 4.29 ERA. 3 starts this season against the New York Yankees. 0-2 with an 11.48 ERA. He's given up 17 earned runs and 13 1/3 innings pitched. In Fenway Park, 4-6 with a 4.76 ERA. Solid outing in his last 2 starts for the Red Sox, which was against the Rangers and the Rays. Combined 8 innings, 6 hits, and only allowed 2 earned runs. But when you're going up against the Yankees, where he has struggled a lot with this season, I think this number 8 is very, very conservative. I don't know why this number is at 8. Nick Pivetta has given up at least 2 home runs in each of his 3 starts against the Yankees this season. He hasn't made it past the sixth inning or gotten to the sixth inning in any of those starts, and he's allowed at least 4 earned runs in every single one of those starts. And I feel like the Yankees may have found something offensively in their last two games against the Tampa Bay Rays in their last series. Two of the three starts did go over the number of 8 in Pavetta's starts. 14-1 victory for the Yankees, and then another game where the Yankees won. Sorry, the Yankees lost 11-6. So no, I love the over 8 in this game. If that Yankees team total is at 4.5, I'm gonna take the over on that as well. Pavetta has just struggled mightily against this Yankees team, and I feel like I mentioned, they found something offensively, at least over the last two games. So give me the over 8 as my play in this game. I love this play here, Noah.
Yeah, we're aligning a little bit too much here today so far, and that's why we only do the trumpet team rides with 3 people on the pod, because we'd be playing that a lot today. Because I love this over, like you mentioned. Pavetta has been struggling lately, and Garrett Cole, the Red Sox seem to be his nemesis. Now, in the last 10 games, did you mention the stat? The over is hit in 7 of them between Boston and New York.
I would not be surprised if it has.
It has. So we're gonna go with the over here. I like this play a lot too.
Yeah. All right. I can't come back. I mean, I'm not putting my money on Pavetta on the money line, like I mentioned, with the struggles that he has had. And I think that minus 170 on Garrett Cole, especially on the road, it's a little steep for me to get on that. But yeah, that number 8, if you want to get on the first 5 innings, over 4 is where I'm currently seeing. That number is definitely going to move to 4.5. And I won't be surprised if this number does close at 8.5 tomorrow. So if you're listening live on YouTube, I would, if your book has it out yet, I would go ahead and pound that over 8 between the Yankees and the Red Sox. All right, Noah, let's keep it moving here, my man. Next game on the board is going to be a AL Central matchup. Kansas City Royals in Minnesota to take on the Twins. 7:40 Eastern start. Chris Bubik on the mound for the Kansas City Royals, and Joe Ryan is on the mound for the Minnesota Twins. Looking at the lines for this game, let me get back to my odd screen here. I'm currently seeing the Minnesota Twins are a minus 180 home favorite, plus 155 on the money line for the Kansas City Royals. Over under set at 8.5 with juice towards the under at minus 120. Run line minus 1.5 plus 115 for the Twins, and plus 1.5 minus 135 for the Kansas City Royals. Let me start with Chris Bubik here. On the season, 2-11 with a 5.40 ERA, 88 strikeouts, 54 walks. On the road this season, 1-5 with a 4.96 ERA. Against AL Central teams, 0-4 with a 4.85 ERA. And against the Minnesota Twins, he did have one start earlier this year where he did get shelled 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 10 hits, allowed 4 earned runs in that game, 7 strikeouts, and 3 walks he gave up to the Twins in that game. And I want to see what the final score was in that game against the Minnesota Twins. In Minnesota, that game ended up as a 4-2 victory for the Minnesota Twins. Joe Ryan on the other side for the Minnesota Twins getting the start here on the season, 10-8 with a 4.05 ERA. Has struggled over his last 5 games where he's 2-3 with a 4.39 ERA, especially over his last 2 starts, which was against the Yankees and the Red Sox, like we just talked about. 2 of the more, I think, good offenses that we can definitely say when they are clicking. But there's two things that kind of stood out to me about Joe Ryan here in this game. Against the Kansas City Royals this season, 3-0 with a 1.59 ERA. He's only allowed 3 earned runs in 17 innings pitched against them. And in those 3 games, the Twins have won all 3 of those by scores of 1-0. The second game was a 9-2 victory. And then the latest start he had was on August 15th, where the Twins also won that game 4-2. Just to add on top of that, Joe Ryan against AL Central teams this season, 7-0 with a 1.95 ERAs, only allowed 11 earned runs and 50 2/3 innings pitched. Twins are coming off of that series, like we just talked about at the top of the show, where they got swept by the Guardians. If they're going to want to stay in this AL Central division race here, Noah, these are the games that they have to win against some of the, I guess, the poorer teams of the AL Central. And I know the Royals have been feisty as of late, but Joe Ryan just has great history against his Royals team. I'm not laying that minus 180 price. The only way I could look was a minus 1.5 at that plus price for the Minnesota Twins. I think this is an important series for them. I think they take care of business at home. Joe Ryan, with that history against the AL Central and the Kansas City Royals, I'm going -1.5 plus 115 here. Noah, what do you think?
I'm going to dice it up probably a little bit differently here. I'm a little nervous of the mentality of the Twins lineup here. Lately, I mean, especially in that Guardians series, it just kind of seemed like they were out of it. Wasn't a whole lot of just kind of like enthusiasm or like passion, I want to say. They were just kind of a dead ball club. And there was one play in specific that I really saw this Twins just kind of dugout moping. They were batting, and most of the time the offensive team's going to be up on the rail in the dugout. I don't know if you saw this play, but Austin Hedges just goes over to the stairs on a little pop-up to the catcher, and it's kind of just MLB camaraderie. You if the guy is going to tip into your dugout, you get over there and you catch him type thing. Nobody moved. Like, nobody was even paying attention to this ball game. Hedges makes the catch and just kind of like thuds down the stairs. Yeah. Nobody even helped him up. It was like nobody even cared about the ball game. So I'm a little bit nervous about the offense. Joe Ryan's going to go out there and do his thing. Yeah. So I like the Royals team total under, just a different way to skin the cat.
Yeah, let me see what that number is posted at right now. I'm currently seeing 3.5 right now. But like I mentioned, like, you know, Joe Ryan has just been really good against this Royals team this season. So I'd like that play as well, what you just mentioned about the Royals team total under. All right, let's keep it moving here. Next game on the board, it's going to be the Milwaukee Brewers headed to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals, 7:45 Eastern start. I currently don't see a pitcher.
Yeah, I'm going to refresh the MLB page. I didn't have one earlier.
I see Josh Lindenbaum possibly for the Brewers.
MLB.com still doesn't have one for the Brew Crew. So.
Okay. I do see Jordan Montgomery here, though, starting for the St. Louis Cardinals. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't see lines and odds for this game either. So I don't know if you had much for this game here, Noah. But again, if the Brewers even want to start approaching or taking steps for this division, I think they're already out of the race, but they're going to have to sweep the series against the Cardinals if they want any chance. I just don't see that happening, or this is the opportunity for the Cardinals to slam that door shut and get that division title for us.
Yeah, it's a left-handed pitcher, and his name is Jordan Montgomery. That's like the handicap against the Brewers. That's it. St. Louis, they're 16-4 in their last 20 games at Busch Stadium. They're 11-4 in their last 15 games straight up. They're 4-2 in their last 6 games against this Brewers ball club. The Brewers, they're 2-7 in their last 9 road games. It's just like bang, 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 checking off every box on the list of these trends that you just read off prior to each game. Jordan Montgomery, he's 5-0 with a 1.45 ERA as a Cardinal since the trade deadline. I mean, we were banging this drum. That was the trade of the deadline, in my opinion, for the Cardinals to get another starter. And it was just like, what are you doing, Yankees? He has 135 strikeouts, 31 walks, and 158 innings pitched this year with a 1.99 ERA in 6 games at Busch Stadium. As soon as the books release this number, this is my favorite play of the day. I am hammering the Cardinals money line here against the Brewers. It's going to be interesting because this Cardinals team, I've grown an even bigger fan of this year.
Yeah,
they come to Cincinnati for a 5-game series this weekend. It's only like 5 hours away from my house. That machine is 3 away from 700. Most of those games, it's Cincinnati. It's going to be a little bit on the cheaper side, even though Pujols is coming over there for that home run race. He's not a starter though, so I don't expect those tickets to be high. I'm like seriously like hemming and hawing on going down there for a 5-game series to just check it out and be in the scene.
Hey, if you can find a cheap hotel and those tickets are cheap, I would spend the weekend there and attend all 5 of those games. That would be awesome. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you're not getting any argument from me here. Jordan, did you see the note? Did you see the note that, I don't know if this was I forgot to check if it was a verified account or not, but he said that, or I don't know if he actually said it or not, but the Yankees weren't trusting his fastball when he was with the Yankees, and then when he got traded over to the Cardinals, he started utilizing the fastball even more, and his batting average or opponent team batting average in that span since he got over to the Cardinals has been like 132, something along those lines. I'm not sure if you caught that or not.
I can try to pull it up on StatCast and actually figure it out, because you might be running into some of those parody accounts that hate the Yankees.
Yeah, it could be.
I honestly believe it. The dude has a 1.45 ERA as a St. Louis Cardinal. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you try to find that? I'll get over to the next game of the night. Right, it's going to be the Oakland A's in Texas, Arlington, to take on the Texas Rangers. 8:05 Eastern start. Ken Waldichuk goes for the A's, and Cole Reagan's on the mound for the Texas Rangers. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Texas Rangers are a -155 home favorite, +135 on the money line for the Oakland A's. Over under set at 8.5 with juice towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5 +130 for the Rangers, and +1.5 -150 for the Oakland A's. Ken Waldichuk, Colin Waldichuk. There's no N in his name. So this is going to be his third start of the season for the Oakland A's. On the season, he's 0-1 with a 3.60 ERA. He's faced the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals. Both of those games ended up in losses for him on the run line. He was pretty solid. It's just the bullpen came in and messed it up for him. 4 2/3 earned run to the Washington Nationals. And then he gave up 3 earned runs in 5. Like I mentioned, Cole Reagan's on the mound for the Texas Rangers. He is 0-2 with a 3.80 ERA. He has 12 strikeouts on the season, but he also has 13 walks in that span. This is going to be a 6th start of the season for him. Last 5 games, 0-2 with a 3.80 ERA. He has faced the A's earlier this season. I think that was in a start where he did lose that game 7-2 as well. I had no idea where I wanted to go with this game. I can't bring myself to picking a side here. So again, if you had to put a gun to my head, I would probably take the Oakland A's at that plus price, because we talked about the Rangers earlier, how they're playing a doubleheader on Monday in Miami, then have to fly back home and then face the Oakland A's, who are already there waiting for them. So I think it's a more tricky of a travel spot for the Texas Rangers. So force pick here, I would go with the Oakland A's on the money line at +135 here, Noah. But I didn't have much for this game. Did you?
Ken Waldichuk is Malcolm and Dylan's guy. He just faced the Braves in his last matchup, and that's tough for any kid going up against one of the best lineups in baseball. Mm-hmm. So I know they were joking around, but he's a lefty going up against Braves lineup. Like, that is that's the second best left-handed hitting or left-handed pitching hitting lineup in the MLB. So it wasn't really a great situation for him, and I wasn't tailing him there. But this is a guy that the Yankees traded away from Montas.
Yeah.
So I like to think that he is somewhat talented. And against this Rangers team, just the offense doesn't seem to be there. I think it's reasonable to go with the Athletics. Now, I did find something interesting on StatCast, if you want to talk about it, with Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so prior to the trade to the Cardinals, mm-hmm. Montgomery had thrown 49% sinker in the month of July. Going into the month of August, it went down to 28%. And so far in September, it's at 26%. You want to know what the fastball was in July?
Yeah. Lay it on me.
5%. It is now up to 35% in the month of August and 40% in the month of September. The dude is just trusting his fastball more, and it might have been somewhat of like the pitch calling that either Trevino or Boone had him on in some program over there. So he's just in a better spot for him then, I guess. So it's working out a ton for Montgomery.
I mean,
Four-seam
look,
fastball over the sinker.
yeah. So I mean, if it's working for him, then hey, more power to him, and hopefully he can continue pitching the way he has for the Cardinals. Going forward, and hopefully, obviously, in their playoff run as well, because they're going to need him.
Yeah.
All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. 4 games left on the schedule. Let's go with the Colorado Rockies headed to Chicago. Take on the White Sox, 8:10 Eastern start. Chad Kuhl on the mound for the Colorado Rockies. Michael Kopech takes the mound for the Chicago White Sox. Looking at the lines for this game, I am currently seeing if my page wants to refresh here. Give me a second here. Let me try. Do you have lines?
Yeah,
Chicago. Here, I got it. I'm sorry. White Sox minus 185 on the money line, plus 165 for the Colorado Rockies, minus 1.5, plus 110 on the run line for the White Sox, and plus 1.5, minus 130 for the Colorado Rockies. Total is set at 8.5 with juice towards the under. I'll start with Michael Kopech here, the starter for the Chicago White Sox. He's kind of been struggling a little bit for the Chicago White Sox. Not a good time to be doing that when you're in that AL Central division race. On the season, 4-9 with a 3.78 ERA. Last 5 games has not been very pretty for him. 0-2 with a 7.11 ERA. He's allowed 15 earned runs in 19 innings pitched. However, did have a good start against the Colorado Rockies earlier this season. 5 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 6 hits and 0 earned runs in that game. But he's gotten shelled over his last 4 games. Last 5 games, like I mentioned. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in 3 out of his last 5 starts, and at least 3 earned runs in 4 out of his last 5 starts.
They were against amazing offenses too.
Yeah.
The Rangers, the Royals, and the Tigers.
Yeah, so he had the Rangers, the Astros, the Mariners in that span. So hopefully against this team, I know the Rockies on the road are not very good, and Chad Kuhl has not been very good either. I know he got off to those 1 or 2 starts earlier in the year where he came and started as a starting pitcher, but last 5 games, Noah, 0-3 for Chad Kuhl, a 9.93 ERA, 3-5 on the road with a 6.00 ERA. Last start, or let me start by saying this. He's at least 5 earned runs in 3 out of his last 5 starts. He's allowed at least 3 earned runs in every single one of his starts over his last 5 games. Rockies have lost 4 of his last 5 starts. And on the road over his last 5 starts, he had 3 on the road. And they lost those games 9-1 to the Padres, 7-6 against the Mets, and 3-0 to the Atlanta Braves. No TLR, like you mentioned. I think this is a good bounce back spot for Michael Kopech back at home. I think the offense of the White Sox can get to Chad Kuhl here. I'm going to go with the run line here on the White Sox, minus 1.5 at that plus price. So give me the White Sox here, Noah. What do you think?
The listeners are probably like, which angle is Noah going to take to try to back up his preseason Cy Young long shot? And I threw a sarcastic joke out there and you ran with it. But I was like, he faced great offenses, the Royals, the Tigers, and the Rangers. But then you added he has faced the Mariners and the Astros there. But still, it's not looking pretty for my guy Kopech. But it might be even worse for I'm blanking.
For Kuhl.
So
yeah,
I like the over here for both teams. The over is hitting 4 of the last 5 games for the White Sox and the Rockies. The Rockies are sticking it really well right now. I don't know if you saw that 502-foot bomb by Crone, but that was the farthest home run hit in the MLB so far this season. It even went over the truck and over the 498 fence out there in left field. So just the White Sox lineup has been hitting very well. The Rockies lineup has been hitting very well. Both these pitchers are just going towards the light at the end of the tunnel, but the light is actually just a subway train coming at them. So I like the over here with you.
All right, let's get over to the next game of the night, NL West matchup between the LA Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. 9:40 Eastern start in Arizona. Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the LA Dodgers, and Merrill Kelly takes the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Dodgers a minus 200 favorite, plus 170 on the money line for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Over under set at 7.5 with juice towards the over at -120, and the run line is -110 both ways. Here, Noah, Merrill Kelly, can he do it against the Dodgers?
Kelly has been going very well lately. We kind of talked about this game offline a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Dodgers, over their last 8 games, the over has hit in 7. 4 of the last 5 for the D-backs, the over is hit. And the Dodgers, they have an 8-game win streak against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks, they have lost their last 5 straight up. So coming into this game, I'm leaning Dodgers. The Clayton Kershaw on the mound, 7-3, 2.62 ERA, 102 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 96.1 innings pitched this year. He has a 2.40 ERA in his 2 starts off of the IL. And both of those starts, they were against pretty good teams. The Giants, they're all right, but the Mets, they're pretty good. And then Merrill Kelly, he's 12-5 and 2.94 ERA, 147 strikeouts, 49 walks, and 171.2 innings pitched. He has a 3.33 ERA in his last 6 starts, so going very well. Now, I know everybody loves playing these Dodgers run line games. I think with the success that Merrill Kelly has had lately, it might not be as public of a play, and the odds are kind of lower than normal. I think I saw it at -120 earlier. I don't know what you read it off at just 2 minutes ago, but I feel like this is not going to be as public as normal. And the way the D-backs have been playing lately, I think some of the public's going to be scared about it because the offense has been pretty fun to watch lately with the addition of Corbin Carroll and a couple other young names. But I think this is a nice spot that we jump on the normal Dodgers -1.5 play. That's my favorite pick in this game. Otherwise, it's just going to be a fun watch.
I mean, you mentioned the numbers there with Merrill Kelly, not only on the season, but how he's done over his past 5 games. But the one thing that kind of sticks out about Merrill Kelly this season, he's 0-3 with a 9.69 ERA against the Dodgers in 3 starts this season. So he has struggled in 2 out of those 3 games. The Dodgers did cover the run line. So I think there's another spot for them that despite how great Merrill Kelly has been going for the Diamondbacks overall on the season, he just struggles against the Dodgers. And again, they have one of the best lineups in the league. We know that, if not the best. And I think this might be another spot where Merrill Kelly does struggle. I think that he may be a public dog tomorrow just because, you know, people like to back Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly when those 2 guys are on the mound. But yeah, Clayton Kershaw coming back or, you know, since being bad, he's had pretty good starts for the Dodgers. And, you know, quickly before we get over to the next game, the Arizona Diamondbacks against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks, WRC plus ranked number 23 out of 30 teams. So I'll go with you there on the Dodgers run line here as well. All right, 2 games left on the board. Let's get to them. San Diego Padres heading to Seattle to take on the Mariners, 9:40 Eastern start. Yu Darvish takes the mound for the San Diego Padres and Logan Gilbert on the mound for the Seattle Mariners. Looking at the lines for this game, I'm currently seeing the Mariners are a -115 favorite, -105 on the money line for the San Diego Padres. Over under set at 7.5 with juice towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5 +170 for the Padres and +1.5 -200 for the Seattle Mariners. Yu Darvish has been a pitcher this season where I do want to back when he's pitching at Petco Park in San Diego. On the road this season, 6-5 with a 4.09 ERA. Last 5 games, he's been pretty good, 3-2 with a 3.41 ERA. The Padres have won 3 straight starts in his last 3 games. And then we take a look at Logan Gilbert, who's been absolutely phenomenal this season as well for the Seattle Mariners. He is 12-5 on the season with a 3.23 ERA. Last 5 games, 2-0 with a 2.15 ERA. Did face the Padres earlier this year in 1 start, 5 1/3 innings pitched, only allowed 1 earned run off of 6 hits in that span. Did give up 3 walks, but he also, or the Mariners have also won 3 straight starts when Gilbert is on the mound. 3-0 victory against the White Sox, 7-0 victory against the Tigers, and 3-2 victory over the Cleveland Guardians. 5-4 at home with a 3.60 ERA. I think my more favorite play in this game here, no, it's going to be the under 7.5. I think both of these pitchers can come out and will pitch well. I think that this might be a 4-2, 3-2 type of game. I think it's going to be very, very tightly contested. I think the pitchers will limit the offenses. I'd love the under 7.5 in this game between these two pitchers. What say you?
Yeah, I think my pick is Seattle. I just think they're in a way better spot right now with how the lineup has been playing. And I mean, a couple of those games against the Braves were great. I would love, maybe that's a World Series final. I would love that. Maybe the TV reps wouldn't, but that would be fun. Seattle, they've hit the under in 12 of their last 18 games. So this is a great squad with good pitching, great lineup. They're 10-3 in their last 13. That's where I'm going to be. Seattle in the under here.
All right. Let's get over to the last game of the night. It's going to be the Atlanta Braves headed to San Francisco to take on the Giants. 9:45 Eastern start. Kyle Wright takes the mound for the Atlanta Braves, and Jacob Junis on the mound for the San Francisco Giants. I am currently seeing the Atlanta Braves are a -155 road favorite here, +135 on the money line for the Giants. Over-under set at 7.5, with juice towards the over at -115. Run line, Atlanta Braves -1.5, even money, and San Francisco Giants +1.5, -120. Why don't you lead us off here, Noah, for this last game of the night? Kyle Wright versus Jacob Junis.
All right, so Atlanta, they're 8-2 in their last 10. San Fran 2-5 in the last 7. Kyle Wright for Atlanta, one of my Vandy boys. He's 17-5 this year. 3.23 ERA, 154 strikeouts, 46 walks, 158.2 innings pitched. Wright's last start was rough. He was at Oakland, gave up 8 runs in 4 innings, but that was a guy going into that game who had won 10 of his last 12 decisions. So, I expect Wright to be bouncing back here in San Francisco. Jacob Junis is on the mound for the Giants, 4-5, 3.98 ERA, 80 strikeouts, 20 walks, and 92.2 innings pitched. He's a 4.99 ERA in his last 5 and a 3.62 home ERA. I don't have a reason for why I've just kind of been turned off lately by Junis. He was a guy that we as a podcast had been pretty much on for most of his starts, but he's pitching fine. It's just nothing sticks out to me like he's going to go out here and pitch well against this good Braves lineup. So I think this is like a casual 1.5 unit play like normal on a -155 line on a team that has a better offense, better defense, a better lineup, better bullpen here. I'm on the money line. Run line's not out of the realm either. So I think the Braves win this one in a low scoring game, but they could win it by 2 or more.
Yeah. All right, has just been having a great season. I mean, there's no better way to put it, right? He has 13 wins on the year for the Atlanta Braves. 3.23 ERA. 17 wins on the season, 3.32 ERA. On the road, 6-3 with a 3.82 ERA. Did get in a little bit of trouble earlier this year against the Giants. Did give up 4 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings. But again, I think that he can have a solid outing here against the Giants here. I mean, this team just does not give up the Atlanta Braves, and I think people are not talking about them enough to possibly come out of the National League again. I think that's a big possibility for them. And again, the Giants with Junis on the mound over his last 5 games, 0-2 with a 4.45 ERA. I just think, it's going to be the money line for me on the Braves here as well at -155. There's no better way for me to, put it or make an argument for the Giants here.
Honestly, I think this bullpen is way better than we give them credit for. Like last night or 2 nights ago, people were talking about Jansen again because he had that weekly or monthly bad blown save, and Brent Strom comes out, or not Brent Strom, what's his name? Snitker comes out and completely backs him. Like he is our closer type thing. Mm-hmm. Great stance from him, even though they have Rizal Iglesias right there, who was closing games for the Angels earlier this year. And they have Will Smith, who was lights out in the postseason last year. This is a great bullpen.
Yeah, 100%. All right, that was the last game of the night. And before we get over to our lock and dog, let me tell you guys about Run Your Pool. Introducing Run Your Pool VIP, right? It's a brand new subscription service from Run Your Pool that helps you get an extra edge against the books, plus exclusive access to real money pools. Entry to our exclusive week 1 and 2 pools with guaranteed $5,000 payouts, as well as our season long pools with a guaranteed $100,000 payout. Get access to exclusive data to help with you with your weekly game picks, premium content like in-depth guides for how to dominate your pools, and exclusive swag. The top line here is that if you're a serious sports fan, you need to check out Run Your Pool. So use promo code SGPN at runyourpool.com and get 50% off your first month of Run Your Pool VIP. That's promo code SGPN to get that 50% off your first month for Run Your Pool. And last but not least, we're also brought to you by Odds Trader. What is Odds Trader? Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promotions from sports books to get the best deal. The app also provides player statistics, key game stats, injury reports, and projected game day weather for bettors to make the most informed bets possible. It also has a bet tracker so bettors can keep track of their records of all their games and betting activity. So all you have to do is to take advantage of this is go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. That's oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader, the number one site for all your game day bets. All right, Noah, let's close it out strong here, my man. Let's get into our locks and dogs for this Tuesday night schedule. I'll let you lead it off here, buddy. What do you got for your lock and your dog? Yep, you're on mute.
Twice this podcast. Dang it. Damn. All right. Anyways, so I really love the Cardinals. That's going to be my favorite play of the day. The Cardinals money line. If it's at like minus 160 or less, I will be on that. But my lock has to be for the podcast, the over in the rivalry in the Yankees-Boston Red Sox game. Just it's hit in 7 of the last 10 games, and we've seen this series play out over and over again. Pivetta not been great lately. Cole gets blasted by the Red Sox in half of the times that he faces them. So I really like the over 8. I think I said 8.5. I don't know why. The 8 total there. And for my dog, there were a few that I named, not a ton that I had a ton of confidence in. I had the Angels on the pod. I think I took the Oakland Athletics on the pod. My favorite dog at plus money is probably going to be the Nationals against the Orioles at home in Citizens Park. That's not Citizens Park. Nationals Park.
Nationals Park.
So, yeah, I think the Nationals they have just the lineup right now that's been raking. I think they're set up in a good spot for them to pull off an upset against the Orioles. The Orioles, they're 2-6 in their last 8 games. It just feels right. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what I'm going to say there. Munaf, how about you?
I have to double lock with you, man. That was my favorite play of the day, the over 8. I think this number will close at 8.5. I don't get it why this number. I think it opened at 8.5 and went down to 8, so even better for us. I don't get why it's at 8. Give me the over 8 as my lock as well. For my dog, I'm going to go with the Twins. I know you mentioned that it seems like they're a little bit deflated here after that series against they need the series, and I think that's my whole rationale as well. But Joe Ryan's numbers have just been overwhelming against the Kansas City Royals and the AL Central in general, where he's undefeated. So I'm going to take their run line -1.5 plus 115 for them to get the job done against the Royals and try to stay in that race in the AL Central, which I believe will more than likely come down to the final week of the regular season. So I know we're going to be watching that very, very closely. So again, lock for me for both Noah and I, Yankees and Red Sox over 8. And my dog is going to be the Minnesota Twins run line -1.5 plus 115. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. We'll be back again all throughout the week for the MLB as we get ever so closer to the end of the season, with just about 3 to 4 weeks left here for the season. And then again, playoffs will be ramping it up. So definitely excited for that. Noah, anything else before we get out of here, buddy?
No, I wanted to mention this at the top of the podcast. Just let us know, like in the comments on YouTube or in a review on podcast form what you wanted us to do on the Monday slates, because the Sunday with NFL this weekend we had Dylan at the Jets game, Malcolm in Vegas, and then we moon off doing the NFL pod. It's just tough for Monday. So would you want a Sunday slate or a Monday slate, I guess, is the question. And for me personally, I don't have much to do today, but everybody always tells me in my DMs, because I mean, Daniel Vreeland or Gumby is so hot betting the Dana White Contender Series. He went 4-1 last week as well. Today is technically the day I should be saying that, because this is Tuesday's games. So go listen to the MMA gambling podcast as well. I can't recommend those guys enough.
All right, before we get out of here, I did need to mention that we did get 2 reviews from our listeners. So I want to quickly shout them out before we get out of here. The first one, it's going to be by Mikey Big Dog. Left us a 5-star review. He said, these folks break down every MLB game during the week. Their podcast is chock full of great information to help with capping. Malcolm, Munaf, Dylan, and Noah really know stats, facts, and picks. Every once in a while, you can get a good laugh when Malcolm reads a Manscaped ad. But keep up the good work, gentlemen. So, Mikey, thank you so much for the review. And we also got another one from the original CP3. Left us a 5-star review. Said, you guys do elite work. Thank you. So appreciate you guys that left us a review. And if you haven't already, please make sure to do so. It really helps us out, grow the show, climb the charts as being one of the best in the MLB. And last shout out to Cosmo. He is actually driving and listening to our podcast right now, live stream on YouTube. He had to pull over his car just to hear our lock and dog for the Tuesday schedule. Cosmo's a regular in the YouTube comments, so definitely appreciate all the support that we do get from all of our fans and listeners. So again, please leave us a rating and review. Really helps us out. And again, we'll shout out as many as we can on the podcast before we end the day. Make sure to follow the MLB Gambling Podcast account at SGPN MLB or MLB SGPN at MLB SGPN. And we are gonna wrap it up here. Follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. Follow Noah, the word 70, the number 7, and its initial NB. And we'll be back in some form or fashion. Till then, good luck with your picks. Let's break these books off and let it ride.